We want to take a moment to welcome everybody to the Watch This Shit podcast. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. My name is Seneca, the movie professor. And with this podcast, we're going to give you the definitive decision on whether you should go view a new movie release or not. It's real easy. If we say, watch this shit, stop what you're doing, and enjoy some good cinema. If we say, don't watch this shit, avoid it as you would going to the post office to send mail. Or don't, you know, do what you want. It may be fun. It may cost you your entire lunch break. You want to listen to us? You put your life in your own hands. So we rarely get nice things. Specifically, I'm talking about great black led films. Yeah, we can get a million Tyler Perry films that demean and put down the black man, but rarely do we get to be the protagonist. When the infrequent finally materializes, I get excited. The Django Unchained, the Sorry to Bother Yous, the Dopes, and of course, the Black Dynamite. We should not be confined to just one genre. We are a multifaceted race and can do action, comedy, sci fi, romance, anything and everything. Of course, I'm happy that we have the latest film by Michael Jai White titled The Outlaw Johnny Black. A kung fu nigga uses gun smoke to justify blazing the saddles of the unforgiven. The story starts out with an interesting but familiar premise. A lone gunslinger is hot on the trail of a slimy criminal that wronged him in the past. He has traveled all over the old West, sometimes performing less than legal actions in his attempts to find this no good varmint and lay him to rest for a dirt nap. The thought of vengeance is ever present in his mind and guides his every decision. The outlaw Johnny Black, played by Michael J. White, travels ahead of his griever and sets up an ambush. While awaiting to spring his trap, he witnesses a couple of Native Americans being preyed upon by the white townspeople. He sat as long as he could before he was compelled to intervene. A pretty decent action scene plays out as White still has the kung fu moves down. I'm just putting together that White played a character named Black. I see what you did there, sir. He didn't kill any of the attackers, but for his part in the fray, he was thrown in jail and forced to await his execution. Pretty decent setup. You get what the character wants, a little about the man you believe he is, and an obstacle in the path of him accomplishing his goal. Now, throw all that shit away. As soon as he gets out of that predicament, he is involved in no less than six subplots, and the initial premise of the story is put on the back burner until the last 15 minutes of the film. For a goal that was so fervently seared in the audience by way of the character's own motivation, it is odd not to have it come into play throughout the runtime. The way it is done feels like a bait and switch. I thought I was here for cake, then this dude come out the back with a fruit cake. Don't nobody want that bullshit, man. The most prevalent subplot has him taking the place of a preacher and laying low in the community while trying to fall in love with one of the ladies there. But the twist is, her sister thinks he really is the preacher she has been communicating with, and they are on a path to be wed. But then the actual preacher, played by Byron Mims of Bullhorn fame from Black Dynamite, returns and they strike a deal for him to pretend to be his deacon while he continues to act as the preacher. Byron has a distinctive voice that leads to one of the funnier moments in the film, with Michael trying to do an impersonation of him and damn near nailing it. The problem, or I should say, my problem with the movie is it did not have the ability to walk the fine line between homage and satire of the Black Western genre. There were parts of this film where it slowed down to a grinding halt. It attempted to play as if it was a film from the era of movies when Westerns were very prevalent. My granddad would have loved those parts of the film. Then there are times when they tried to play up the joke angle. Somehow it failed to blend them or make either of them separately feel interesting. There were jokes that were flat out not funny. This movie is bloated. They put so many plots in that they had no option but to create plot holes. The one that had me and my crew scratching our heads the most was the gender of one of the character's siblings. Before we meet this character, The person that's introducing her clearly says, Jesse Lee is my brother. When the character shows up, it is clearly the hello nurse, Anika Nani Rose. I looked up her filmography and was happy to learn she was Tiana in The Princess and the Frog. That role led to her doing a lot of voice acting. I'm happy for her on that front, but this dead fish of a film isn't going to propel her silver screen career. There are some things that were done well. The action scenes, as few and far between as they were, are great. My favorite gag was one where a deputy attempted to take a gun from White's character and received a slap to the face no matter what he tried or where Johnny Black placed the gun. It was a good scene. Oftentimes, the on screen happenings just weren't interesting. That saddened me because I was so excited for this film. Fucking love Black Dynamite. That movie is hilarious. Has a message, has great action, is a perfect satire of black exploitation, and is brilliantly acted. The cartoon series is amazing as well. I went back and watched a few episodes after the disappointment of Outlaw. I've narrowed the problems down to a couple of points. Point one, Michael Jai White directed this movie. I don't see any other directing credits for him. This was a poor decision. Maybe should have directed some short films first or something he wasn't the lead actor in just to get a feel of doing it. That's a lot of pressure for one person just to helm the entire project. Then on top of that, you are in nearly every scene as well. It was too much for him, and it showed. He should have got some help. Point two, this film was way too long. At 2 hours and 15 minutes, we got to cut that down. I'm thinking 30 minutes could have been shaved to help everyone out. And I know where we can get those minutes back. There's a scene in which Black, while still pretending to be a preacher, gives a sermon. This motherfucker gives a whole ass sermon. No, this is not the time for that. Hit me with the funny bits, like Arsenio did in Coming to America, or Eddie did in Vampire in Brooklyn. There's a way to play those. Hell, David Allen Greer just did it in They Clone Tyrone. That scene was all of 7 minutes, and that includes a back that ass back to Squire remix. No reason I should have to sit through a real sermon doing a black exploitation Western comedy heist spoof movie. Whatever happened, whatever happened to I ain't gonna hold you long. The final point I want to make is that I said it before. There are a lot of jokes here that just aren't funny. That kills the film. With the runtime and people trying to force themselves to laugh, it was a chore to sit through. There are times that I laughed at my friends or an audience member laughing at an unfunny joke. But that even gets old after a while. We were making our own jokes for them by the end of the film. That's not a good place to be in. I want this film to do well, selfishly, because White claims he has two or three other films in mind for his mock black exploitation series. But I can't, in good conscience, send people to see a movie that isn't good. So I had to say it. Don't watch this shit. It sucks too because I saw the filmmaker's take on how hard it is to get a black-led movie greenlit in Hollywood. I can even see the vision he had and what he wanted the movie to be. Unfortunately, he just didn't get it across the line. Thank you for listening to another episode of Watch This Shit. You come here for the realest take on new movies. So make sure to follow us so you're not left in the dark on whether you should check out a new movie or not. If you haven't seen this shit, don't. Don't. Sorry, don't. Check us out next time when we review Haunting in Venice. And good day to you.